He kicked his wife and newborn twins out of their home just to marry another woman. He thought no one would challenge him. He thought he could erase them from his life and get away with it. But he had no idea that Maya's mysterious, powerful mother, an Arabian billionaire, was about to arrive and turn his world upside down. Everything he believed about control, power, and inheritance was about to shatter in ways he never imagined. Before we start, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss shocking stories that will leave you speechless. The night was cold, cruel, and merciless, and Maya felt it in every bone of her body. Marcus had shoved her out of their house, ignoring her cries, ignoring the baby's whimpers, ignoring the life they had built together. She clutched her newborn twins close, their little fists pressing against her chest, as if they could somehow shield themselves from the harsh world outside. The door slammed behind her like a final verdict, and she felt the emptiness settle around her like a heavy shroud. She had begged him, pleaded, begged him to think about the babies, about the life they had together. But Marcus had only sneered. "I'm done, Maya. I'm marrying someone else. Take your things and go." His words weren't just cold, they were brutal. They were designed to crush, and they succeeded. Maya's vision blurred as tears fell silently, soaking the blankets around her children. He thought he had won. He thought that by pushing her into the street, by erasing her from the house, he had erased her from life itself. He thought she had no one. He thought she had no family, no backup, no way to fight back. Marcus, in his arrogance, didn't know the truth. He didn't know that Maya's mother, the woman who disappeared when she was a child, was alive, powerful, and ruthless. A woman whose wealth and influence stretched across continents. A woman who had been quietly watching, waiting for the right moment to step in. Maya sank to her knees on the cold porch, wrapping the twins tightly against her chest. The world felt as if it had ended. Every neighbor asleep behind their curtains, every streetlight flickering above, every passing car that ignored her presence made her feel smaller, weaker, like the weight of the universe rested on her shoulders. She felt completely alone, until her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She hesitated. Normally, she would ignore it. But something deep inside whispered that she couldn't. She pressed the green button, holding her breath. Hello, she whispered. Her voice cracked. Maya, a soft, commanding voice said. It's me, your mother. Maya froze. Her heart skipped, then slammed against her ribs. She dropped her gaze to the babies, their tiny faces curled against her arms, and tried to comprehend the voice that had just shattered 2 decades of questions. Her mother? Alive? Speaking to her now? How is this possible? Maya whispered, shaking. I've been looking for you. The voice said, calm, steady, and terrifyingly powerful. I've searched for every trace, every clue, every place you might be. And tonight, I found you. The twins stirred in her arms, sensing her tension. Maya swallowed hard. She didn't know whether to cry or scream or fall to the ground. Everything she thought she understood about her life was suddenly upended in one call. Are you safe? Her mother asked, her tone softening but still full of authority. You sound frightened. Maya looked at the locked door behind her. The place that had been her home was now a prison of memories and betrayal. He kicked us out. Marcus, he's marrying someone else. He doesn't want us, she whispered. There was silence on the other end. Then, a voice sharp and dangerous, cold but full of controlled fury. Where are you? Maya swallowed, her voice barely audible. I'm at home. I mean, the house. He locked us out. I'm on the porch. Give me the address, the woman said. Maya hesitated for only a second. She didn't know this woman, the mother she had never met. But she knew she had no other choice. The babies needed protection, she needed safety. She gave the address. I'll be there in 20 minutes, the woman said. Do not move. Do not go anywhere. And Maya, you're not alone anymore. The call ended. Maya's knees went weak. She held the twins tighter, the realization sinking in. Her mother, the mysterious Arabian billionaire who no one thought would ever step back into her life, was coming. Not for a meeting, not for a warning. She was coming to claim what was rightfully hers, her daughter and her grandchildren. And when she arrived, everything Marcus thought he had controlled, his marriage, his inheritance, his arrogance, would be shattered in ways he could never imagine. The night around her seemed to hold its breath, as if even the darkness knew that change was coming. And Maya, trembling, finally allowed herself a small spark of hope. Because for the first time in years, she realized she wasn't powerless. She wasn't alone. Her mother was on her way. And with her mother's arrival, nothing would ever be the same again. The sound of a car engine in the distance made Maya's heart skip. Her mother had said 20 minutes, but the minutes had stretched like hours. She hugged her twins tighter, rocking them gently as the cold night wrapped around them like a cruel reminder of how helpless she had felt moments ago. Every shadow in the street looked threatening. Every rustle in the bushes made her flinch. Marcus' betrayal still burned in her mind. He hadn't just thrown them out. He had made it clear he wanted to erase them, to pretend they never existed. But now something shifted. A presence she couldn't see yet, but could feel, was approaching. Powerful, unstoppable, protective. Her mother, the woman who had been a myth in her life, the one whose wealth and authority were whispered about in circles Maya had only dreamed of, was coming for her. The sound of tires crunching on the gravel driveway made her heart race. She stood, carefully balancing the twins, her eyes straining to see through the shadows. A sleek black SUV pulled up, its engine dying to silence. The headlights cut through the dark like twin knives. The door opened, and a tall figure stepped out. A woman, commanding, elegant. Every step she took seemed to shake the air itself. She was dressed in a long, flowing coat, the kind that spoke of power and luxury. Her hair was pulled back, her eyes sharp, scanning the scene before her. "Maya," she said, her voice calm but strong, filled with authority that made Maya's knees tremble. "Are you hurt? Are the babies okay?" Maya's lips trembled. We're fine," she stammered, though her voice shook. Marcus, he kicked us out. He's marrying someone else." Her mother's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Maya felt the full force of the woman's wrath. This was no ordinary anger. This was controlled, strategic, dangerous. A power that could crush anyone who dared to harm her daughter. "Come with me," her mother said, her tone softer now, but still unwavering. "We have to get you and the children somewhere safe, and we're going to fix this." Maya followed, lifting her twins carefully as she approached the car. She couldn't believe it. After years of abandonment, after years of silence, her mother was here. She was real, and she was unstoppable. The ride was quiet at first. Maya could hear the faint hum of the engine, the soft whimpers of the twins, and the occasional click of her mother's heels as she shifted in her seat. Maya wanted to ask questions. How had she found her? Why now? Why after all these years? But she didn't. She was too overwhelmed, too relieved, too scared to think. Finally, her mother spoke, her voice low and deliberate. "Marcus thinks he has power, that he can erase you, erase his own children, and no one will challenge him. He's wrong, dead wrong. And tonight, we make him see that." Maya swallowed hard. She wanted to feel fear, but instead she felt a surge of hope. Her mother wasn't just rich or powerful. She was strategic, unstoppable. She wasn't going to let Marcus get away with this. When they arrived at her mother's estate, Maya gasped. The house was massive, almost like a small palace. Marble floors gleamed under soft lighting, and priceless art adorned every wall. The baby's eyes widened, captivated by the warmth and grandeur. Maya felt a pang of guilt and shame. This was a life she had never imagined she could have. But her mother's hand on her shoulder was reassuring. Strong. Protective. "Welcome home," her mother said. Her eyes softened for the first time, filled with the warmth of a mother who had waited too long to hold her child. "You're safe now, and we're going to make sure that man, Marcus, never hurts you again." Maya felt tears slip down her cheeks. Relief, hope, and love, all tangled together. For the first time in years, she felt like she had a family. A real family. Just as Maya was starting to relax, her mother's expression hardened. "We're not just protecting you. Marcus needs to understand that there are consequences. He thinks he can control everything, but he underestimated me, underestimated us. And by tomorrow, everything he believed about this family, about inheritance, about loyalty, it will change." Maya looked at her mother, stunned. What do you mean?" Her mother's lips curved into a slight, confident smile. "Let's just say, Marcus believed there was no one to claim what's rightfully yours. He believed he could erase you, erase your children. But he was wrong, dead wrong. And tonight, he's going to learn that the moment he tries to step back into this house, He's stepping into a storm he cannot survive. Maya hugged her mother tightly, feeling a sense of protection she had never known. The twins rested against her chest, sleeping peacefully now in the warmth of their new home. And Maya realized, in that moment, that her life was no longer defined by betrayal or fear. Her mother's arrival had changed everything. Outside, the night remained quiet. But soon, Marcus would return. And when he did, he would realize that power, wealth, and arrogance mean nothing when they face a woman who loves her daughter fiercely and a mother who would destroy anyone who tried to harm her family. Maya's world had shifted. The helpless little girl who had been abandoned, thrown out, and ignored was gone. In her place stood a daughter who now had an empire behind her, a mother who could move mountains, and a future that no one could take away. And as the first light of dawn touched the estate, Maya knew one thing. Marcus had no idea what was coming, and he would never see it coming. Marcus woke the next morning with a strange emptiness in the house. The silence was deafening. No cries from the babies, no soft footsteps from Maya. The living room felt hollow, like someone had pulled the heart out of the house. At first, he thought it was just a dream, a hangover from last night's decisions. But then he saw it, the locked front door, the quiet hallway, the faint scent of perfume lingering in the air that wasn't his wife's. Panic started to creep in. He had thrown Maya out. He had done it to make room for his new wife. He had thought he was in control. He had thought no one could challenge him. But for the first time, he realized he had underestimated her, and underestimated someone else entirely. The call came minutes later, a number he didn't recognize. He answered with irritation. "Maya?" Marcus asked. There was no response, just a calm, controlled voice he had never heard before. "Marcus," the voice said smoothly, each word precise and cutting. "This is Leora, Maya's mother." Marcus froze. He knew the name vaguely. Rumors of a wealthy, powerful Arabian woman. He had assumed she was gone, irrelevant, or too busy to matter. But now, her voice on the phone made his blood run cold. "I'm sure you thought you could erase my daughter and her children," Leora continued, her tone icy, "that no one would challenge your arrogance. But you were wrong, dead wrong. What do you want?" Marcus stammered, his voice shaking despite himself. "I want justice," she said simply. "And you're going to learn that power is nothing without respect. You're not just dealing with Maya anymore. You're dealing with me." The line went dead. Marcus hung up, sweating, heart hammering. He couldn't believe it. He had spent months planning his remarriage, imagining a life where Maya was gone, irrelevant, forgotten. He had thought he had removed every obstacle. But now, the obstacle wasn't just Maya, it was her mother. A woman of unimaginable influence and wealth, capable of crushing him socially, financially, and legally. He paced the house, trying to call friends, lawyers, anyone who could tell him what to do. But all he could hear was the quiet silence that reminded him of his failure. His new fiancée walked in, cheerful, oblivious to the tension. "Isn't it exciting?" she said. "Tonight we can start planning the wedding." Marcus shook his head, unable to speak. Every plan he had made seemed worthless. Every step he thought he controlled had crumbled. And worst of all, he realized that he had no idea what his mother-in-law, Maya's mother, was capable of. Meanwhile, miles away, Maya sat in the safety of her mother's estate. The twins slept peacefully in their cribs, warm and secure. Maya's mother, Leora, poured a cup of steaming tea and handed it to her daughter. "Look at them," Leora said, her eyes softening as she watched the babies. "They are your legacy, Maya. They are strong, even if he refuses to see it." Maya nodded, tears in her eyes. I thought I was powerless, that he could just erase us. But now, I feel like I have a family again. I feel like I can fight." "You can," Leora said firmly. "And we will. But we have to be strategic. Marcus is arrogant. He thinks wealth alone gives him power. He doesn't realize that influence, patience, and timing are far stronger weapons. We're going to teach him that tonight." Maya's heart raced. What are we going to do?" Leora smiled faintly. "First, we secure your future. We reclaim what he thought he could take. Then, we remind him that no one messes with our family and gets away with it." The day passed quietly, but the tension hung thick. Marcus made calls, tried to locate Maya, but every attempt failed. He began to understand that she wasn't just protected by wealth. She was protected by someone far smarter, far more dangerous, and far more determined than he had ever imagined. By evening, Leora had prepared a plan. Legal papers, influence over business contacts, and social leverage all aligned. Marcus would soon learn that Maya wasn't just a woman he could throw away. She was a force backed by someone who could crush him with a single move. Maya felt a mixture of fear and excitement. This was new for her. For years, she had lived in uncertainty, wondering if she had any power, any protection. Now, she realized that her mother's arrival didn't just save her, it gave her strength she never knew she had. And together, they were unstoppable. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the estate. Maya sat on the balcony, watching the city lights in the distance, thinking of the man who had thrown her out. Marcus had believed he was untouchable. He had believed Maya had no one to fight for her. He was about to learn that power alone means nothing against determination, wealth, and the bond between a mother and daughter. And as the night grew darker, Leora stood beside Maya, silent but vigilant, a guardian angel turned warrior. They were ready. Marcus had no idea that by morning, his life would be completely unrecognizable, and the woman he had tried to erase would be stronger than ever. The storm had begun. Marcus thought he could ignore it. He thought the silence meant victory. He had thrown Maya and the twins out, locked the doors behind him, and convinced himself that the problem was gone. But by the time he stepped into the office that morning, his phone buzzed nonstop. Calls he ignored, emails he dismissed, and messages he thought were trivial suddenly demanded his attention. Every single message, every single call pointed to one undeniable fact: Maya was no longer alone. Every legal advisor he consulted, every business associate he contacted, gave him the same cold reality. He was no longer in control. The woman he had dismissed as irrelevant, Maya's mother, Leora, was orchestrating a comeback he could not comprehend. She had moved faster than he had ever imagined, filing legal claims, contacting his family's financial partners, and quietly gathering proof that his actions against Maya could have serious consequences. He felt a knot of panic tighten in his chest. He thought wealth would protect him, arrogance would shield him, but none of that mattered now. Power was being wielded against him in ways he had never learned to defend. Meanwhile, Maya sat in her mother's grand estate, a plan laid out before her. Leora had prepared every detail: the legal documents to reclaim the house, the strategy to expose Marcus' lies, and the social leverage that would leave him isolated and humiliated. For the first time, Maya felt a surge of confidence. No longer was she a victim. She was part of a force unstoppable by arrogance or deceit. "You see," Leora said, her voice calm but firm, "he believes he can erase people like us. But Marcus underestimates one thing: we don't run from fear. We don't hide from injustice. We act." Maya looked at her mother, nodding. "I want to go back. I want to take back what's ours. I want him to see that he can't just throw us away and live without consequences." Leora smiled faintly. "Good. But we do it smart. We let him realize the storm is coming without giving him a chance to react. We reclaim, we assert, and we remind him that the people he tried to erase are stronger than he ever imagined." Hours later, Marcus returned home, expecting a quiet evening in preparation for his engagement party. But the house greeted him differently. The locks had been changed. The front door opened to a clean, well-lit home, his home, but no longer his kingdom. A subtle note rested on the counter: "We're back. And everything changes today." Leora, he felt panic rise. This wasn't a coincidence. This wasn't random. Someone had been planning this for hours, if not days, with precision he hadn't anticipated. The arrogance that had once defined him began to crack. Before he could think further, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered hesitantly. "Marcus." Leora's voice came through, calm, commanding, and terrifyingly deliberate. "I hope you're comfortable, because from this moment forward, you'll learn that some people cannot be erased." What do you want?" Marcus asked, trying to mask the fear creeping into his voice. "You," Leora said, "need to understand that power without respect is nothing. You thought you could throw Maya and the children away, that you could remarry and continue life as if nothing happened. But power alone won't protect you from consequences." Marcus' hands trembled. I can fix this. I'll pay. Stop," Leora said sharply. "There's nothing you can pay for. You see, we're not here for money. We're here for justice. and justice always finds the arrogant. At that moment, the front door opened. Maya walked in, holding the twins, with her mother right behind her. Marcus froze. He had expected Maya to beg, to plead, to appear fragile and defeated. But she walked in with a confidence he had never seen. She was protected. She was untouchable. She was not alone. Maya looked at him, her eyes cold yet unwavering. "You thought you could erase us," she said softly, yet every word cut like a knife. "You thought we had no one. But you were wrong, Marcus. Dead wrong." Her mother stepped forward, the aura of power radiating from her like heat from the sun. "This house, these children, this family," Leora said, her voice smooth but commanding, "are not yours to manipulate or destroy. And from this day forward, you will understand that every action has a consequence." Marcus opened his mouth, trying to defend himself, but no words came. He had been so arrogant, so sure of his dominance, that he had never considered the possibility of facing a family more powerful than his ego. And now, there they were, Maya, her twins, and the woman he had ignored for decades, ready to reclaim everything he had tried to steal. Maya's mother placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "He underestimated us," Leora said, "but that ends today. Today, the storm begins." Marcus looked at the three of them and realized, for the first time, that he was alone. His new fiancée, his plans, his arrogance, they were meaningless. Against determination, love, and power combined, he had no chance. Maya felt a sense of liberation wash over her. For the first time, she was standing in her own strength. Marcus had thrown her out, tried to erase her, tried to rewrite her life. But now, she knew, nothing he did could ever diminish her or her family. And as Marcus sank into the chair, defeated, unable to speak, Maya and her mother exchanged a look. They had won the first battle. But the war, the total reclaiming of their lives, their home, and their dignity, was only just beginning. Outside, the night was calm. But inside, a storm had begun. And Marcus had no idea how devastating it would be. Marcus sat frozen in the living room, his hands trembling, unable to speak. Every plan he had made, every assumption he had believed, every ounce of arrogance that had driven him to throw Maya and the twins out had crumbled. He had thought wealth, control, and arrogance were enough to erase people. But now, faced with Maya, her children, and her mother, Leora, the woman whose reputation alone could crush empires, he realized he had overestimated his own power. Maya stepped forward, her eyes sharp, unwavering. "You thought this was about control," she said, her voice steady. "You thought you could manipulate, erase, and move on without consequences. But you were wrong, dead wrong." Marcus tried to respond, to justify himself, but words failed him. Every excuse sounded hollow in the presence of authority, love, and power. Leora, standing beside Maya, radiated an aura of calm dominance, the kind of presence that demanded respect and obedience without raising a hand. "You need to understand one thing, Marcus," Leora said, her voice like steel wrapped in silk. "You have underestimated the power of family and justice. Money can't protect you. Arrogance can't shield you. You've overstepped, and now, everything you thought you controlled belongs to someone else." Marcus swallowed hard, panic rising in his chest. I can fix this," he stammered. I'll do anything, anything." Leora cut him off, her eyes piercing. "There is nothing you can do. Actions have consequences, and you've already shown your true character. You've hurt my daughter, tried to erase her and her children. That can't go unanswered." Maya took a deep breath, her hands resting on her twins, who now gurgled and cooed, innocent yet powerful in their presence. "I was scared," she admitted softly. "I thought he could destroy us. But I'm not scared anymore. Not when I have my family. Not when I have you." She looked at her mother with gratitude and strength. Leora nodded, a faint smile touching her lips. "And now, Marcus, you're going to learn that justice isn't something that waits. It acts." She motioned to a briefcase beside the couch, and Marcus realized with horror that it was full of legal documents, proofs, and strategies that would strip him of his control. His accounts, his influence, his ability to manipulate the family. Everything was being challenged, reclaimed, and reversed. "You thought no one would challenge you," Leora continued. "But here we are. Your marriage plans? Delayed indefinitely. Your home? Reclaimed by the rightful owners. Your reputation? Already under scrutiny by everyone who matters. And this is just the beginning. Marcus felt sweat drip down his back. For years, he had used power and intimidation as weapons, but nothing in his life had prepared him for this. He realized, in stark clarity, that the people he had underestimated were not just strong, they were unstoppable. Maya stepped closer, her voice firmer now. You thought you could destroy my life. But you don't control me. You never did. And now, you're going to watch as I reclaim everything you tried to take from me. The twins babbled, reaching out toward him as if sensing the tension. Marcus looked at them, feeling an unexpected pang of guilt, but it was too late for apologies. He had made his choice, and now the consequences were absolute. Over the next few hours, Leora executed her plan with precision. Legal papers were filed. The house was officially returned to Maya. Every attempt Marcus made to intervene was blocked by strategic alliances, contracts, and influence that he had no way to challenge. By the evening, he realized he had lost everything he thought he owned. His new fiancée had left, afraid of the chaos and the power now aligned against him. His social standing was questioned. His business partners, who once followed him blindly, now approached him cautiously, aware of Leora's reach and influence. Maya, watching from the safety of her mother's estate, felt a profound sense of relief and empowerment. The fear that had haunted her, the helplessness that had gripped her when Marcus threw her out, was gone. She had not just survived, she had reclaimed her life. She had reclaimed her home, her children, and her dignity. And she had her mother by her side, a guardian who would never allow injustice to touch her again. That night, Marcus called one last time, his voice weak, almost pleading. Maya, please. I didn't know. Maya shook her head. It's too late. You made your choices. And now you live with the consequences. We are safe. We are stronger than ever. And nothing you do can change that. She hung up, her voice calm, resolute, and free of fear. Leora placed a comforting hand on Maya's shoulder. You see, Maya, she said softly, sometimes the storm comes to remind us who we really are. And sometimes, the people who try to destroy us learn that they underestimated the force of love, family, and determination. Maya looked at her children, sleeping peacefully in the cribs, and smiled. We're safe, she whispered. Finally, Leora nodded. And from now on, no one will ever make you feel powerless again. The night outside was quiet, but inside, the air was filled with triumph, relief, and a sense of justice finally served. Marcus, defeated and humiliated, had learned the hardest lesson of his life. You can't erase love, you can't erase family, and you certainly can't underestimate a mother's protection. Maya's life was restored, not just in comfort and safety, but in dignity, strength, and love. And as she held her twins, watching the first light of dawn touch the estate, she knew one thing for certain. She was never alone, she was never powerless, and she would never let anyone take her or her children for granted again. The storm had passed, but the legacy of courage, love, and unstoppable family would remain forever. And for Marcus, the lesson was clear: never underestimate the woman you try to destroy, and never, ever underestimate the family that comes to her defense.